Near mint condition, the home of collected editions.
That cover's so awesome.
Absolute format is the best way to own this store. Time to empty those wallets and fill those shelves. How's it going, all you minties? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And join me today for your overview of John Romita's The Amazing Spider-Man Daily Strips Artist Edition from IDW. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, before opening this up, I do want to thank the folks at IDW for sending us a copy of this artist edition. And the very first thing we need to do is get it out of this protective cardboard. So there it is. Alright, let's take this out. And on the cardboard itself, just like all the other artist editions, it's John Romita's The Amazing Spider-Man Daily Strips Artist Edition. The retail price, $150. IDW logo, and then the Marvel logo. And like all the other artist editions, this does come sealed in plastic. So that is the very first thing we need to get rid of. It's this plastic. Ah, there we go. Let it breathe. Alright, so really quick, this blue frame around here has that comic strip panel from all of John Romita Sr.'s comic strips. The Marvel logo, the IDW logo, the Amazing Spider-Man Daily Strips Artist Edition, and of course John Romita. And the spine of the book right here. You have Peter Parker Spidey, John Romita's The Amazing Spider-Man Daily Strips Artist Edition, Marvel and IDW logo down there, and then some more of the actual strips that we're going to be looking at inside. This is so exciting. John Romita's legendary signature there, IDW logo, and the Marvel logo. All right. And really quick, I just wanted to showcase just how big this book is compared to that of the size of a Marvel Omnibus. Now, this isn't your stereotypical design for an artist edition. And I know each artist edition is a little different in size, but most of them tend to be the size of this John Byrne's X-Men Artist Edition. So it's usually like this instead of landscape format because we're looking at comic strips now, not actual comic books. And just to give you an idea of how tall it is. Let's go ahead and crack this open and check out some of this beautiful artwork. Okay, let's go ahead and crack this Artist Edition open. I love these end sheets. I think they're so cool when they take a frame and blow it up just so you can see just the detail lines. I love it. I think it's awesome that they do this for all the artist editions. John Romita Jr.'s Amazing Spider-Man Daily Strips Artist Edition. The behind the scenes right here of all the folks that helped put this together. And of course, Scott Dunbier being the main editor. The Amazing Spider-Man Daily Strips, art and cover by John Romita, story by Stan Lee, January 3rd to July 1978. January 3rd is when they kicked off this freaking line. This is crazy. And here we go with January 3rd. The book has 176 pages. So this is really interesting because I believe the comic strip went all the way up until 2019 after John Romita left. Like John Romita Sr. left like in the early 80s. I'm going to say like 80 or 81. And then I think it was Fred Kita that took over, eventually Larry Lieber, and then Alex Saviuk took over the book, and that's when this comic strips ended. So these ran in newspaper strips. It would be like finding it with Peanuts or Far Side, but it featured a character of Spider-Man, which had already been syndicated for, oh my gosh, so many years before this, right? Starting with 1962. And now in 1977 is when they kicked off his comic strip. Written by Stan the Man Lee and then drawn by John Romita. And what's really interesting about this is that it was supposed to be out in the early 70s, but for some reason, nobody wanted to carry it. Nobody wanted to pick it up. So it wasn't until years later, in 77, that they tried again, and then we got this Amazing Spider-Man comic strip in January 3rd of 1977. It was produced by Marvel and then syndicated by the Register and Tribune Syndicate through 1985. And then later on, it was Cal's Media Company and then the King's Feature Syndicate in 87. Obviously, you're not just going to be seeing Spider-Man. You're going to be seeing other characters from the Marvel Universe, like Doctor Doom. And it's one of those comic strips that also has an ongoing story, too. Now, I had a couple of the little digest-sized books from... Who was it? I want to say... Uh, was it Pocket? It was the same company that was doing, like, the Garfield comic strip collections in these little trade paperbacks. And one of the things that is often asked about this series is it in the same continuity as the 616 Peter Parker and Spider-Man? No, not really. As a matter of fact, I think they do some storylines that are based on the 616 universe, like when I think it was the wedding that made me realize that, because when I was a kid I thought it was all in continuity. But it was the wedding comic strips that were different than the comic book wedding issues that made me realize, oh, this is not in continuity. But it was a huge and popular strip. And for those of you that keep up with current comics, I'll skip a little bit more through here so you can see some other characters. The characters of this particular universe, now that we have a multiverse, do appear in the Spider-Verse event. If you not the movie, but the event that the movie is based on. But it appeared, I think, in the original Spider-Verse #1, the one with Tom Grumet, the one that was done by Dan Slott. But again, showcasing some of the supporting cast of Spider-Man that you're probably familiar with from the comic books. So what you're going to be seeing through here is one particular storyline running for several months. And then some of them lasting about 8 to 12 weeks. So when I talked about the concept of these, they're not really like your Peanuts or your Far Side, because I mentioned that they're a continuing storyline. Now, it varies. Some of them lasted about 8 weeks, and then some of them lasted for a few months. Sometimes, I think, 4 or 5 months, depending on the storyline that was going on. But here you can see the dates that these originally came out. And there's over 300 strips in this collection. That's crazy. And much like the comics creating their own character, there are characters that appear through here that have never made it into the comic book, besides, of course, the Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse story. I do remember characters like Wolverine. I know there were, because I used to have those as a kid. I would cut them out of the newspaper. Wolverine has appeared through here, and we've seen characters like Doctor Doom and Mysterio and Kraven the Hunter. But Daredevil, I think, makes an appearance through here as well. And I think our good Doctor, not just Doctor Doom, but the other guy with a PhD and Doctor Strange makes an appearance through here. And to a lot of people, John Romita is the definitive Spider-Man artist. He's the definitive. My wife calls him the, what does she call him? The good-looking Peter. It's the way that he drew Peter Parker. Like a handsome guy. Handsome young man. Handsome Peter, I think is what she calls him. And there's a lot of truth behind that. He redefined the character of Spider-Man. I love Steve Ditko's, and I still push people to get the Steve Ditko run on Spider-Man, but there was just something extra and special about John Romita's Spider-Man. And it's the last strip right here. And some of these have signatures by John Romita and Stan the Man. And then a biography on John Romita. And then your end sheets. And of course, I love the fact that they use different end sheets for the beginning and the end. Now let's look at the binding really quick. 176 pages. Sewn binding and printed in this, oh my gosh, it's printed on this really thick matte paper. And supporting cast again and villains like Kingpin, but supporting cast, of course, like MJ and Aunt May and Jay Jonah and Robbie right there, Robbie Robertson. So it's really cool to see these being collected. This is the actual artist sheets. It's just really cool to see how big these were when John Romita was drawing them. Just how big these sheets were. And I wonder if he did like 10 strips worth of, or 10 weeks in a couple of days, and then they just cut them and send them, because you can see they range anywhere from like 3, 4, sometimes 5 panels, because we are talking about daily comic strips. But that's it. That, as they say, is that beautiful book. If you're interested in purchasing this book, don't forget to check out our sponsors.
If you're in Europe and you're interested in buying these books, definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices, flat shipping rate of €12 for all EU countries, emails answered within 24 hours, waltscomicshop.com, and you can use the code nearmintcondition at checkout and get free shipping for all EU countries with your first order over €40. That's Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Ding!
cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, the page count, and build of this artist edition. And of course, how it compares to the size of the other artist editions. In the comments down below, let me know if you are picking this up, if you are a big fan of artist editions, and I would love to know what other comic strips you would love to see collected in artist editions. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Don't forget to smash that like button. That's it, everybody. Stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.